As per the order of the House of earlier today, the question on the motion for third reading of this bill will be put following the consideration of the other bills. Therefore, orders of the day.
Order M123, third reading of Bill 123, an act to proclaim Korean Heritage Month. Mr. Cho, Mr. Baker, Mr. Tabbins.
I turn it over to the member from Scarborough, Rouge River.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the third reading of Bill 123, an act to proclaim Korean Heritage Month.
Mr. Cho has moved third reading of Bill 123, an act to proclaim Korean Heritage Month. Mr. Cho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is a real honor and privilege to speak about Bill 123, the bill to declare October as Korean Heritage Month. I'm very happy to sponsor this bill as the first and the only person elected to this legislature with Korean background. Currently, the Korean immigrant population is approximately 213,000 in Canada, of which 160,000 call Ontario their home. Canada is the fourth largest Korean diaspora in the world. Mr. Speaker, the first known Korean to come to Canada was Tae-yun Hwang. Mr. Hwang visited Canada in 1948 as a mission-sponsored medical intern, and after his education, he stayed in Toronto. Like Dr. Hwang, Koreans highly value the Canadian education. Education is the most sought reason to immigrate to Canada. In the late 1990s, South Korea became the fifth largest source of immigrants to Canada. Toronto has the country's largest number of Koreans. The number of temporary residents has also grown ever since the Canadian government granted a visa waiver to South Korea. South Korea was the largest supplier of international students to Canada in the late 1990s. Several Korean communities have developed in Canada. The two most concentrated areas are the Koreatown in Toronto and the mushrooming Korean communities in British Columbia. Toronto officially designated the area on Bloor Street from Bathurst St to Christie St as Koreatown in 2004. Koreatown, Toronto is also known for its Spring Dano Festival, which is run on the 5th day of the 5th month of the Korean lunar calendar. As experienced by many other communities in Canada, a second large wave of Korean immigrate to Canada due to the situation in North Korea. However, many of the new North Korean refugees were not allowed to stay in Canada. Mr. Speaker, I cannot speak about Korean Canadians without mentioning the 516 young Canadians who paid the ultimate price during the 1950 to 1953 Korean War. Koreans are ever so grateful to Canada. I'm so grateful because without Canada's military intervention, I don't think I would have been able to immigrate to Canada and make this speech in this House today. Canada and South Korea signed the historic Korea-Canada Free Trade Agreement in 2015, the first FTA with the Asia-Pacific country. Korea was Canada's the sixth largest trading partner in 2016. In 2016, the total trade between Canada and Korea was $11.3 billion US. Since 2015 Free Trade Agreement, Canada and Korea have signed the numerous economic cooperation framework and technological cooperation initiatives. Mr. Speaker, despite the current situation in Korean Peninsula, I could honestly say that the Korean people are peace-loving and industrious people. A good proof of that is here in Ontario. The hard-working Koreans that immigrate to Ontario well after the Korean War have contributed immensely to the economic prosperity, cultural diversity, and higher education of this great province. I would say that their contribution has been immeasurable. Most Canadians would learn about the Korean Canadians from stereotypical sitcom Kim's Convenience, which is on CBC TV, but the second generation of Koreans are more business-oriented professionals who won't fit the Kim's Convenience sketches.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, as a Korean Canadian, I'm very proud to stand in this chamber to make this statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That the bill do now pass and be entitled as in the motion. Mr. Cho has moved third reading of Bill 123, an act to proclaim Korean Heritage Month. Is it the pleasure of the House that the motion carry? Carried.
Third reading of the bill, troisième lecture du projet de loi.
Be it resolved that the bill do now pass and be entitled as in the motion. Orders of the day.